And Shubhendu Ghosh is now joining us live from New York. Good to have you with us, Shubhendu. Good morning to you. How successful has early voting been so far?
Good morning, Mark. Early voting is still on across many states. For example, Texas and Florida opened for early voting on Monday. As the rule suggests, about 45 days in advance to the election day, states can choose when to conduct early voting. Most of the states do practice this early voting so as to ensure maximum participation from the electorate. As we speak, millions of Americans have already voted in these round of elections ahead of the big election day on November 5th. If we look at the polls coming in, traditionally we see that early voting is something that the Democrats supporters prefer. So their numbers tend to be slightly on the higher side as compared to the Republicans who support one important day, election day, 5th of November, as a day of voting. So it is expected that the kind of polls that we're getting at the moment of a slight edge to Kamala Harris is expected to be balanced out by the voting that will take place on November 5th. Meanwhile, the focus is on the swing states, really the battleground. 7 states is where the contest is seen as most intense. That's where the candidates are also really putting in all their strength and weight behind. We saw Kamala Harris planning to campaign in Wisconsin, in Michigan and Philadelphia. Donald Trump in North Carolina, meeting and seeking the concerns of the people who were affected by Cyclone Helene. Right. So early voting is still on mark, but the focus increasingly shifting to the swing states as we speak.
Also, Shubhendu, how much does foreign policy impact voters? Or, are they more concerned with the domestic issues?
Well, for a polarized election that we're witnessing this time over in the US, Mark, it is really difficult to put a finger on which issue is really going to drive the voter to the voting booth or their support. But yes, there is a cross-section of issues that drive the voters. We've spoken to voters who, in fact, are very vocal about America's position on foreign affairs because they see America's identity not just as what they experience here at home domestically, but also what America represents in the global geopolitics. And in that sense, we do see that the two leaders, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, present opposing views as to the direction in which America could be headed under their respective leadership. So in that sense, foreign policy is definitely a concern for many voters. At the same time, a domestic issue, whether it is about illegal immigration, whether it is about abortion rights, whether it's about economy and cost of living, there is a cross-section of issues that the voters are affected by. And it will be interesting to see how they weigh all these options and make a final decision.
We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Shubhendu Ghosh, for joining us from New York with that update.